Hey everyone.
Hey everybody.
Welcome back to our channel.
Yes indeed.
Ebb and Flow with your hosts, Shannon
and William
Larry.
Oh, mercy. This whole French thing is just, we keep on going with it. It's going to be a running thing, I guess. Here we are.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So welcome back, guys. If you're seeing us on YouTube, welcome. If it's your first time, welcome.
Absolutely.
And if you are listening to us on Spotify, welcome back to our channel. We are so excited to be back.
Definitely.
Doing another episode. So I know last episode we were talking about boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
And we were really thinking about what our next topic should be.
Yeah.
Based off of what boundaries really does bring.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes not adhering to those boundaries.
Yeah.
And I know this man right now is smiling, but our topic today is one. It's a combination of two, so it falls into a category that both of us have struggled with at one point, which was pride.
Yes,
and that is the topic for today, pride.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also, when I think of pride, I think of control.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
yeah, they go hand in hand.
We both have very bad control issues.
Yes, she's worse than me.
And, I'm terrible. I'm a control freak. But, be the first to say that.
Yes,
but
Lord.
Without further ado, today's topic is going to be on pride. And I think this is a big one because I think a lot of people really struggle on, one, what pride really is.
Yeah. But
two, understanding the pros and cons of what pride can bring.
The pros and cons. I'm trying to see the pros, but okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely do think that pride is something that you always hear the saying, pride comes before the fall.
Yes.
And, you look at pride and it has usually a negative connotation. I'm really tempted to hear what's the positive you got for pride. And by the way, everybody, she always has a very unique perspective, and sometimes she really puts me onto game here real quick. So
and we're putting each other on game right now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, so this is going to be quite interesting.
Yes.
So for me, when I think about pride having pros,
mm-hmm.
Of course, the connotations that are negative, we already know a lot of the negative connotations. But with the pros, when you think about pride, it is healthy to have a healthy sense of pride. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a healthy sense of pride, then you really don't have any self-respect for yourself. A lot of times when it comes to pride, we think of, oh my gosh, we're so prideful, we're so haughty, we're so proud. Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, you have to have a sense of, I cannot speak. God in heaven, Jesus.
Yeah,
please, God, help me with this today.
Please, Lord, help her.
I think about a healthy sense of pride because I remember when people would always say, that's your problem, you have too much pride. Mm. And the truth of the matter was, it's not that I had too much pride. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that in order for me to carry on and not have self-pity, mm-hmm. there had to be a sense of level of pride in order for me to go ahead and move forward.
Hear you, baby. You don't have to increase the volume.
Be quiet. I am very annoyed right now because my brain is not computing.
Apparently not.
God in heaven.
Apparently not.
But when it comes to a healthy sense of pride, mm-hmm. I think about the time when I was on the street, when I was homeless. Yeah. And I remember one person in particular, he said, that was your problem. You came into my leasing office with a lot of pride. Mm. And I remember just looking at him thinking, you have no idea where I'm coming from. Yeah. And then when I started speaking more about my situation, he started realizing, oh, it's not pride. Mm-hmm. It's a level of self-respect and humility within yourself to understand that just because you're not walking with your head down, you're not having your shoulders slumped over, you're able to have the pride to understand that you have God in you. Yeah. And that you are not going to let man go ahead and bring you down and lower your level just because of your circumstances and your situations. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we think of pride, we think of all the negative connotations that make us feel like we are these arrogant people. Yeah. But if you don't walk with your head held high in situations where your head should be hung low, then what is the point of even having God inside you or showing any type of light that actually resides in you? You can't be pitiful and powerful at the same time. And I love when Joyce Meyer says that, because you can't. You can't expect to actually go ahead and have a healthy sense of pride to know that this too shall pass in order for you to prevail forward. And that's going to make you an all-around better person.
That is definitely a very good outlook. I gotta agree. You know, I know you would hear things about like taking pride in what you do. You know, it's something that I feel a lot of people are kind of forgetting about, and you just kind of clued me in a bit. You know, taking pride in what you do and taking pride in who you are, it's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'm glad you said it like that, because when you don't take at least a little bit of pride in who you are, a lot of times you get ran over. You know, a lot of times you're gonna get told what to do by people that really shouldn't tell you what to do. And you get told who you are by people who don't know who they are. And so, you know, having a sense of pride is definitely good. Having too much pride is a bad thing, though. And having too much pride is definitely when you will fall. You always fall flat on your face. It's a little bit of a double-edged sword, I can say. You know, having just the right amount of pride will get you far, because it will allow you to be yourself, and for people not to knock you down from where you come from and from who you are and from who you know yourself to be.
Absolutely.
And so I think you're definitely onto something good when it comes to pride, with having a good sense of pride. Because I do see it as being a very healthy thing, actually, for that part.
I think it's a matter of having that self-respect. And I think a lot of people, they take these negative connotations when it comes to pride. And a lot of times, I know for me, I have been told very many times by many people that I am a prideful person. But the truth of the matter is, I'm not a prideful person. I just take pride, one, in what I do. But two, I'm also not going to allow, and I did at one point, and I started realizing when I started doing it, I started losing a little bit of that healthy sense of pride. You know, when I think of pride too, I think of lions and lionesses. And if you see a lion and a lioness, they have that pride, right? They have that pack. The reason why they have that, and the reason why it isn't pride, is because at the same time, you have to have other people who are just like you.
It's true.
In order for you to be edified.
It's true.
And how you walk with your head up high and you dominate your territory, you have to be able to have other people with you. And you have to have other people with you who have that same level of confidence within themselves. And I know for myself, people would constantly tell me, oh, you have so much pride. But the reason why I had pride was because I would walk with my head held high. And little did they know, my story, I honestly, everyone, based off of how I came up, I should be strung out on drugs, pregnant with 5,000 kids, you know, honestly, and have God knows how many baby daddies up the yin yang, just because of the fact that, and have no self-respect, mind you. That's the other thing. See, it's one thing to go ahead and have certain circumstances and certain things that actually hit you and you grow from them. But from what I had gone through, I should not have been able to go ahead and even rebound from that. I might have even, and honestly could have been 6 feet under in a grave. And so with what I've been through, my pride in how I carry myself does not reflect anything of what I have gone through in my life.
At all.
And I have learned that I know that I serve a God that is greater, who allows me to go ahead and realize, you know what, my child, you have had your issues. And with those issues, you also have to understand, though, and realize that you don't have to be pitiful and stay in that pit. And even when you get into that pit, recognize that you're in that pit. And I think that's the segue of getting into the unhealthy parts of pride, where it really can take you on a downhill spiral. For me, it was actually more so the opposite of mine. You know, I had a
very large sense of pride, to the point where if you try to tell me about myself with anything as far as constructive criticism, I would essentially put it down instantly. So you couldn't tell me about myself. You couldn't tell me about things I was doing wrong and to do better. And so what I essentially would do is block everything else out. I would be like, you know what? No, I'm good on my end. I don't know about you. So maybe you need to figure it out. And what that really does is it dwindles who you are, because and for people that don't know my part of the story, I'll definitely delve into that too on another episode. But I essentially would count myself short after a while, because pride does come before the fall.
It does.
And some of you haven't heard from me in a while, because I definitely had fallen. And so I know that when you lose yourself and you lose the parts that make you who you are because of pride, it becomes very hard to bounce back. It becomes very hard to build yourself back up again. And that does take a great deal of time. So when you have a sort of pride about you, you have to have a balance with you.
Yeah.
And when you lose that balance is essentially when you slip and fall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know for me, when it comes to the pride aspect of the negative side for me, it definitely had to do with, I can be honest, my first relationship. My first relationship, other relationships that I had that were platonic, of friendships.
Yeah.
And I blamed people for what had transpired as far as in those relationships. One thing I will definitely say that I think is important to understand about how dangerous pride can really be is you not facing what you're feeling. I know for me, one of the things that we were even just talking about this weekend, I had spoken to you about my first relationship. And a lot of people who knew me in that first relationship had no idea what took place in that first relationship. And I will definitely say he didn't just break me. He demolished me. He killed every part of my spirit and being. And that was something for me that it took me so long to admit, because I didn't want to seem weak. I wanted to seem prideful. A lot of times when it comes to pride, we have these negative connotations because they come with a lot of negative aspects. It comes with arrogance. It comes with denial. It comes with that person can't tell me what I am and what I can do. And I think a lot of times it really can make or break you. In the situation for me, in me admitting that he broke me and killed certain pieces of me off, it made me actually stronger to say, you know what? One, he probably didn't even realize that he had done that. And two, that might have been his goal in that moment of time to hurt me. But sometimes when people do certain things to bring you down to a level that is comparable in comparison to them, they're trying to bring you down to a level to make you seem like, you know what, you need to understand that level of confidence that you have, you can't supersede that. You can't move forward in that. But at the same time that they're trying to do that, they might not even realize what they're doing. They might not even realize the ramifications and the effects of what they're doing. And hurt people. And it becomes a cascading effect. And now you have your pride hurt. But in addition to the pride being hurt, you have your future that's being diminished. And so I think it really is interesting, because I do think of the verse pride comes before the fall. Because of the fact that if you don't admit that you have that kind of unhealthy pride, not only you're going to fall, but you're not going to be able to prevail forward and become the person that you're supposed to be.
Oof. Wow. Yeah. You know, when you first met me in person, it was one where you caught me at a very different time in my life. And all my confidence had dwindled to a point where it was non-existent.
Yeah.
You know, my pride was something that held intact, and it got boosted because of my low confidence. And so what essentially happened was I was a very proud shell of who I was. And so, you know, I was nostalgic looking back at times that, you know, I had it together. Yeah. Thinking that I still had it together, but I didn't have it together. Yeah. And so, you know, when you had told me about your first relationship and just how you came into my life, it was essentially heavy. Yeah. You know, I was prideful to think, and this kind of goes onto that relationship 101 episode that we were speaking about. I thought I could essentially help you as I was broken in my pride, which essentially, and I'll be honest to you guys, I was bringing us down heavy. And it always takes two. But I'm not so pun. I'm not so proud to say that, you know, my arrogance and my pride was not something that was a problem. And so I had to learn more and more, as you would tell me thoroughly. You know, you're very prideful. Yes. And I didn't want to hear it. I definitely didn't want to hear it. And I didn't want to think that I was on that sort of tip. But what ends up happening is when you let your pride take over after you've had things happen that cause you to diminish, you essentially start bleeding everywhere and onto everyone for anything. Yeah. And it becomes very hard to control. Yeah. And that's another word. Pride has a very bad sense of control. You think you can control anything. You think you can control everything. And what happens also with that is you start losing that grip on that control at some point. You always will. Yeah. You always will. And what will happen is your pride will cause you to fall just that much more because you can't gain control anymore. And so you start to spiral. Yeah. You can't see anything straight anymore. And you have to learn, one, look at the situation where you're in. Yeah. What's happening? Is it one where it's of your own volition? Look at the things that are of your own volition. What was caused by you? And then be the change you wish to see. I know that I say it all the time, be the change you wish to see, but you have to be that change because sometimes you don't have that example. Yeah. Of what that change is, so you can drop that pride, so you can drop that control, and then you let God work, you know? And I think that is very true, and really dropping that control. Pride and control go hand in hand. Yes, they do. And it's something that I know both of us have struggled with control. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I know both of us have definitely struggled with a level of pride. Absolutely. You know, for me, my level of pride had to do with my strength and my resilience and how I had to come up. I only had myself in coming up in certain aspects. Yeah. And so with that being the case, my pride was the only thing I could really hang on to. But I had to start realizing too, one thing, as much control as I tried to have, in order for you to have a level of freedom in your life, you have to go ahead and understand the healthy sense of pride with humility and understanding what aspects you can no longer control. Yeah. There's some things in this life that you can control. Yeah. And there's some things in this life that you really just can't control. Yeah. I had to understand and learn, and we were just talking about this weekend, how the people that I had in my life who impacted my pride, I had to realize that I had to not only forgive them, but I had to understand, more importantly, a couple of aspects. It's easier sometimes to forgive somebody else, but not forgive yourself. Ooh, yeah. And so I had to learn, it wasn't a matter of forgiving them. It was a matter of forgiving me. And in order for me to have done that, I had to realize that, wait a second, hold on. Not only do I have to forgive me, I have to realize I can't blame them. It might have not been my fault,
in how I attracted those people. And a lot of times it's not your fault in how you attract those people, because those people are maybe what make you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
I know in my situation, I was comforted by those people because of how I grew up and growing up around toxic people and toxic environments. And so that was almost like comfort food to my soul.
Yeah.
But what I had to realize was I can't get mad at those people when I let those people essentially do what they did to me.
Yeah.
And in doing so, it caused me to have a ricochet effect in developing a thicker, unhealthy sense of pride by saying, well, they did what they did to me. It's their fault. But in order to go ahead and understand that, wait a second, I need to forgive myself, and I need to realize I could not control them.
Yeah.
But I could control me.
Yeah.
And I might not have been able to control them at that time, but where I currently am, I have a choice now as to forgive myself, and also, in addition to forgiving them, understanding I can't blame them any longer.
Yeah.
But I also can't fully blame me. I need to forgive me. I need to understand me. Yeah. Understand me where I was in that moment. Understand me where I was at that time.
Yeah.
Understand that where I'm at now is now the person who can now look back as hindsight 2020 vision to say, wait a second, hold on. I see where the error in my ways were.
Yeah.
I see where the control aspect lied as to what I did not know and what I did know and what I felt comfortable in not wanting to know, in ignorance. And sometimes pride can also go hand in hand with ignorance.
Sure can.
Because sometimes you do know certain things, but you're so prideful that you don't want to admit what your issues are. And then you stay stuck in a rut, in a situation that you could have ended maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know? And I look back at my life now at certain aspects and I'm like, wow, certain situations that happened 10 years ago, thank God I wasn't stuck per se, but there were moments and aspects of my time that I stayed stuck in a mindset. And a lot of times when you are allowing yourself to be in that place of pride and not allow yourself to have the control to say, wait a second, I need to control my rights in my mind, that even if I don't feel comfortable doing this, I need to understand that I have to negate my control and understand that there's certain things that I need to undo in order to redo in my life.
That's very honest. That's real. Yeah. You know, and you touched on something as far as people being around certain people with certain things, and you know, you weren't the cause, but then you were the cause.
Correct.
You know, in my life, I definitely had some people as well.
Yeah.
And I essentially was the court jester. And I went from being very respected to essentially just being laughed at. And after a while, you know, when you want a place to fit in, sometimes that's when everything starts kicking in as well. For every action has a reaction. And with that reaction, that's usually what you can control. You can't really control anything else. You can't control people. You can't control the circumstances that pop up automatically out of nowhere. You're not going to have control over everything except your reaction. So whether something happens and you flip out, or whether something happens and you keep calm and you look at it rationally, you know, it really sets the tone for everything else. And
it does. At
that point in my life, being around those people, I had lost my sense of rationale. And so I decided to go ahead and stay with those people, which then enabled me with my sense of pride, where I was like, you know what, these people always will laugh at me and all this and all that. No one else is going to be able to tell me what to do ever again. You get that statement, that ever again. And what that really is you're putting up every single wall at that point, saying, you know what, I'm never going to let this happen to me because it felt that bad.
Yeah.
You have to let go and let God. You know, it took me a very long time to start thinking coherently with all of that. and to start throwing away my bad sense of pride with just thinking that there was nothing happening to me.
Yeah.
And I'm a whole lot better now, thank God. But at the time, I really had to hear what you were saying, especially with taking a reflective look at myself. So whenever you're going through that, whenever it seems like nothing makes sense and you're very prideful to the point where no one can tell you what to do, just for a moment, take a look at everything and say, what is really happening? Be present for a moment. Because also, too, with pride comes a lot of nostalgia. And that nostalgia can take you out. It can take you out big time. You will stay exactly at that place at that very time. I mean, even now, I can even think back and I can tell you the time, the weather, the time of day, as far as what certain things happened. And you have to let those things go so you can be present, so you can start to heal. Pride, a lot of times that bad sense of pride comes with not being healed with certain things. And not healing is going to just things happen more and more and more if you allow it to. And so really take a breath and take a look at what's going on, and maybe you'll start to heal with that.
And I think it's interesting when you say, like, take a moment and self-reflect. One of the things I love doing is self-reflecting.
Yeah,
but I love self-reflecting also in isolation.
Yeah.
And what I had to learn is also how to swallow my pride by having healthy people and other people in my sphere also help me, including myself. And what I mean by that is the other day, I actually, as I was doing my makeup, I am thankful to have a vanity. And with my vanity mirror, I actually had to look in my eyes for the first time to see what others saw. A lot of times we might look at ourselves in a mirror, but we don't see our souls. And we don't realize why certain people look at us the way they do. And I've heard several times people say that I have honest eyes.
Yes, you do.
But one of the things that have made me feel insecure is not necessarily looking at somebody in the eyes, but more or less looking at somebody in the eyes.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I see people's souls, and especially if it's a hurting soul. My heart hurts because they have that pride that they're putting up. And so it's a reflection of me, what I saw within myself. And sometimes I'm, you know what, let me take a step back. I don't want to be in that realm. I don't want to be in that space until you're able to finally let your guard down and talk to me or whatever, it may be. And it's really difficult for a long time for me to understand, and I'm starting to now understand that self-reflection and the importance of self-reflection, to really look at yourself in the mirror. So I encourage people to literally just stare at yourself for a few minutes. I know I had done it when I was in acting classes, and I would have to stare in the other person's eyes, which is very awkward sometimes to just do that for a couple of minutes, and you're just staring at this person and going, okay, this is very uncomfortable and it's very awkward. But it really helps you to divulge a lot of information within not only yourself, but within also the other person, and then see some of the flaws that are in another person also ricochet in you. And I think it's important that you take that time to really self-reflect, and not self-reflect of what the world tells you to self-reflect on. So I know on Instagram, people constantly say, oh, let me show you as I record me journaling and looking so pretty and flawless. So that is not always how self-reflecting looks.
No,
sometimes self-reflecting can also be you having a screaming match with yourself.
Absolutely.
Or having a screaming match with God, or having a screaming match with your person. And sometimes it just looks like you just being on your knees, just crying and weeping. There's no perfect way to really allow yourself to divulge that information, but however you have to, I encourage each and every one of you to divulge that information. Even if it makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. I think it's so beautiful to be able to completely divulge that information with yourself, because once you start cleansing your soul, you allow room for more growth to come in that's healthier. Or I'm going to say this too, and if you're very, very uncareful, unhealthy as well to enter into your soul. Mm-hmm. And so you really have to be careful as to the company in which you keep. Mm-hmm. Understand what you need to do within yourself to understand, wait a second, hold on. If I'm cleansing my soul, let me be careful as to who I'm also coming around so that I don't put that same toxicity, or I'm going to say it even this, worse toxicity than what you started with.
Yeah. That's honest. That's really honest. I know when you and I first got together, there was toxicity that we both had individually.
Yeah.
That, we had undergone, but then when we got together, the toxicity, it magnified.
It did.
Because there were certain things that we were both prideful about that we just wouldn't indulge to fix within ourselves.
Yeah.
I have to say it like that.
Yeah.
Whenever you go through life and you go through a sense of pride like that, you start realizing what's hooked up to you that needs to be let go.
Yeah.
For me, I had to realize people that had to be let go.
Yeah.
And we all want a place to belong.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, we don't belong everywhere.
No.
You're not going to belong everywhere. Sometimes you have to, and I think this needs to be said more, but sometimes you have to be alone sometimes to really gain an understanding where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
I know everybody speaks about tribes, having your own tribe. And you find your tribe by being your better self.
Yes.
It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to be, shooting gold from out your mouth and everything. What it is really is just you being you, but you reaching for more in life that's better for you. And so people see that and they'll go, oh, you know what? This person right here has something that's really, really nice. I like this.
Yeah.
And then they'll want to be around you more, but then you got to be careful who's coming around you.
Yeah.
Because not everybody, again, is supposed to be there.
Correct.
And some people will look like they're supposed to be there, and they're not supposed to be there. And, I definitely know that it does take time.
It does.
It takes a lot of time in order to really get the feel for it. And with that reflection bit, I'm going to go back to that. Is definitely one that, sorry, I saw you look a certain way. I was like, what happened? No, but with that reflection bit, it's definitely one that if you look at yourself in the mirror when you're going through all this, I promise you it's going to be one of the toughest things that you have to do because you're not going to like what you see.
Yeah.
Somebody I used to know back in the day, they had told me to take a picture of myself in front of the mirror. And I remember the first time I did it, I hated what I had seen. And I was like, I don't like this. I look strange. It was at the time I was very depressed, so I was losing a lot of weight. And I had never done it again. Actually, to this day, I never took a picture in front of the mirror in that way ever again. I would take a picture in front of the mirror with you.
Right.
But looking at myself in the mirror now, I'm a whole lot better because I'm seeing the things that are changing within me. And I'm not talking just physical appearance, people. I'm not. I'm talking actual spiritual, like inside of you. You can see that glow you have because you're starting to enjoy life. You're starting to appreciate what's here for you. And I think it's a very beautiful thing if you keep doing that self-reflection because it does work. It helps you heal. It makes you find the things that are not good, and it helps you to wean off of them. Even if the thing that is not good is you at the moment, to be very honest.
Yeah.
And it helps you to realize, oh shoot, I really need to change this. Let me change this. Let me work to change this and take that time to change it.
And I think it's beautiful that you said work to take that time to change it. And I know we're coming to a close, but it's one of those things in working to take that time to change it. Really be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And then also not just be patient with yourself, but allow the process for you to change. So you can grow and transform into the person that you need to.
Yes.
A lot of times we'll try to go back into our cocoon that we already shed.
Yeah.
And you're in that process, God in heaven, Jesus, process of metamorphosis
Go ahead,
to understanding that you have to transform. You have to transform from the caterpillar into the cocoon, into the butterfly. Yeah. And it's okay for you to do that. It's okay, especially if you came from a place that I came from. And I will definitely share my story in a later episode as well. I
can't wait for you to do that.
And I'll say it from the perspective of how my story definitely was. I can be honest to say that I'm just now finding my wings and allowing my wings to really flourish.
That's honest, yeah.
And flap and grow and say it's okay to fly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times with pride, based off of what teachings you had before and what that self-reflection will look like, sometimes you feel like you have to stay trapped in a cocoon, but your wings are already fully there and you're just not allowing yourself to really fly. And it's okay to fly. It's okay to change, because you are going to change as you go through that transformative process as well.
Absolutely.
And I think it is important that people understand that in order to allow that self-reflection to truly take place, to become the best version of you, you have to let yourself transform, because you're not even going to have much of a choice. You're going to have to transform, because you're going to outgrow the shell that you once had. So I think with that being said, I think it's a good point to just pretty much, stop there.
I think we're about there.
So next week's episode, we will definitely touch base with, of course, another amazing topic. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. I kind of have an idea. I'm sure that...
I don't know if you're on the same thing I'm on, but truth.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think next week we will definitely touch base on truth. I mean, I think pride, truth, and control all go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So, we'll definitely do that. Truth and denial.
Yeah.
I think that's something, kind of looking in that realm. I think that might be it.
I like that.
But of course, we'll let you know, like we always do, per every episode, when that time comes and grows nearer. So, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the love and support and what you've been giving to us during this time. And please make sure you like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel, and make sure you follow us for notifications on Spotify as well.
Yes, indeed.
And so with that being the case, we thank you guys again for tuning in with us.
Yes.
And much love from above. And we pray that you all have a very blessed and successful week.
There you go.
Take care, guys.
Talk to you guys soon.